ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
The LouieTeeNetwork is powered by MusicHead University. MusicHeads, classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to Sunday Night Football overtime. Giants, Bills. Damn, that was an effing good game. Man, that was not what we expected, but I told y'all earlier today, I think we're going to have some good primetime games. I didn't think this was going to be it, though. I was talking about more like tomorrow. Wow, what an effort by the Giants. And this is why we talk about all the time. The NFL is a week-to-week league. You just don't know what's going to happen. One thing we can count on, though, the Giants will not score a touchdown. So offensively, that is. So we do know that going into the game. They're not going to score any points on the offensive side of the football. But Tyrod Taylor, can we just admit that he's a better option than Daniel Jones at this point? Now, again, it is what it is. I would much rather see Daniel Jones next week as a Commanders fan than Tyrod Taylor. Just personally, that's just my belief. Saquon Barkley makes a huge difference. We'll see if they get some of those offensive linemen back next week. But their season's done. There's nothing they can do to dig themselves out of a 1-5 hole. It's over. But they're going to be a pain in the ass if they play like this. Now, I can't be assured that this is what they're going to do every single week moving forward. They got up for this game Sunday night. They were 15-point underdogs. That's the ultimate disrespect. That's the biggest underdog we've seen all season long. And you don't get 2 touchdown underdogs in this league very often. So they were showed the ultimate disrespect. And they had to see that. They knew it. They came out and they played with a level of energy that the Bills, frankly, similar to last week over in London against Jacksonville, they didn't match the energy of the Jaguars. The Bills did not match the Giants' energy for the first 2 quarters and a half. It wasn't until the Giants had that blunder before the half and they came out and they were able to put together a little bit of a drive that sparked them, and they took the 7-6 lead. And it took them damn near the entire third quarter to score that damn touchdown. If not, I think that drive, the back end of it spilled into the fourth quarter. It's like 16 plays. Nothing came easy for the Bills tonight. But as we know in this league, there are going to be games like this. And you want to find yourself, especially when you're playing a team like the Giants, you just can't afford to lose. They're in a very competitive division, are the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, the Dolphins are not to be reckoned with. And so, but they've already smashed them. But still, they're 5-1. You can't afford to lose to the 1-4 Giants at home if you're going to try to keep pace with the Dolphins. So they had to have it. And the Jets, all of a sudden, are 3-3. I mean, and Aaron Rodgers is throwing passes on the field before the game today. I'm not saying he's going to be back anytime soon, but still, like, don't count the Jets out. We know they play defense. If nothing else, if you're a Bills fan, they got you in week 1. So you needed to win this game. And to pull it out, that's huge. That's big time. But you made it a lot tougher. I question some of the decisions. Well, one decision in particular. I would not have kicked the field goal after, and I know that Tyler Bass has been spectacular this season, and his first misses came tonight. But that's all the more reason why I would not have kicked that field goal at the end of the game. He had already missed from 53 earlier in the game. And for me, it's less about Tyler Bass. And generally, scared money don't make money. That's how I operate in situations like that. No, put your field goal kicker on the field. But you also have to understand who your opponent is. And I know I'm playing against a New York Giants team that just doesn't score touchdowns. So what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to put them in an advantageous situation where I'm cutting the field essentially in half for them and making them have to drive, 55 yards or so, roughly, for a touchdown. I would have punted. I would have made them fair catch it at the 11. Hopefully it gets down at the 8 or 9 or the 6. And make them drive the length of the field and see if they can do that in a minute, whatever, with one timeout. because they were literally dinking and dunking their way down. They would not have had enough time to do it the way that they did it. They would have needed some chunk plays, and I don't know if they would have been capable of getting that. But by you cutting the field in half, by kicking the field goal, you essentially put them in a position where you could almost lose this game. And I just thought after you went for it, and I don't have a problem. I put the ball in the hands of my quarterback in that third down situation, and he was open. And I think he short-armed it. He was trying to be too fine. He was so wide open. He's like, I don't want to put this ball, too high or, whatever. I just want to get it there, right? And he short-armed it. And Knox almost made a great play to scoop it off the turf, but he wasn't able to do it. And at that moment, and you have the decision already made in your mind. That's why you turn Josh loose, because if we don't get it, I'm sending my kicker out there. I would have already made up my mind. I'm punting if we don't do this. We don't pick up any more yardage. Maybe you pick up 5 yards, but you're still short. Okay, yeah, no, I might kick that because it would have been good from 5 yards closer. But from that distance, he had already missed from that distance, right around that distance earlier in the game. I'm good. I'm going to pass on that. I'm going to go ahead and punt this thing and see if the Giants can drive it the length of the field and score a touchdown, something they haven't done in essentially 2.5 games. Going to see if I'm going to try my luck, see what they do. Anyway, hell of a performance by the Giants and Tyrod Taylor, and they fought their balls off, man. But that storybook ending just wasn't for them tonight, and I have zero sympathy for them. They had a player literally jump on the back of one of our players like a damn backpack, and they didn't call it last year. So that was pass interference on that last play. I thought that was more pass interference than the play that they called on the final snap of regulation, not the untimed down, but the one that they called to get it to the one. I thought the last play was more pass interference than that one, personally. But that's nor here nor there. The Giants had their opportunities. They had the blunder right before the half. That's what bad teams do, right? Because, you play this game, and we don't know how the game would have turned out, what the Bills would have done had the score been, 9 or 12 to whatever at that point. The likelihood is the Bills would have gone for 2 after the second touchdown. They probably would have gotten it. You can't say that for sure, but they might have had 15, and so that last field goal that they would have been kicking would have been to tie, not to win. You could play that game if you want and say, well, had they not blown the situation at the end, got the field goal, made it 12 or 9 at that point, it would have been 9-0 at half, and then it would have been 12 at the end of the game. The Bills would have gone for 2, right? And it would have been either 13 or it would have been 15. So I'm going to put my money on them picking up the 2-point conversion, and it would have been 15. So I don't know if they would have been winning the game per se, but kicking the field goal to tie it would have felt a lot better, and just take your chances with overtime versus, you had what you want. You got to play. You're at the 1. Like, that's what you want. That's essentially like a 2-point conversion for the win. You scored a touchdown, you go for 2, and you say, to hell with the tie. Like, that's what you want. And it's better than a 2-point conversion because that's at the 2. The ball was at the 1. I need your best short yardage play right here for a chance to upset the Bills as 15-point underdogs. I need whatever your best is. I need it right now. That's a tough way to go out, especially when you fought as hard as you did tonight. That's the most fight we've seen from the Giants all season long, and it's not close. Even in the game that they won and they fought back from down 21 points, 28-7. This is the most fight. That was the Arizona Cardinals. You should have never been down 28-7 to begin with. You had no business being in this game. Let everybody else tell it. And yet you had the football with no time left in the fourth quarter at the 1 yard in a 14-9 game with a chance to win 1 snap. You couldn't ask for it any better than that if you're a Giants fan. Just got to find a way to execute in that situation. If you're a Bills fan, what the F, bro? Like, you've had too many of these this year. And when you're really good, you're one of the best, right? Dolphins game, Raiders game. Like, we've seen you turn it up. No, seriously, turn it up. Even the Commanders game, I'm biased, but that score didn't really indicate. That was a 16-0 game in the fourth quarter, but I digress. You still won 37-3. But the Raiders game was a thorough ass whooping, and the Dolphins was just as dominant as it gets. But then there are the other games, the Jets game in week 1, the game over in London last week, and then this one. And you just ask yourself, who are you really? Show yourself. I feel like this might have been one of those games where you just overlooked your opponent potentially. But I can't even give you the satisfaction of allowing that as an excuse because of what you did last week. So you were supposed to be looking for some get back this week. This was supposed to be like, oh, we put some bullshit out there last week, so we got to atone for that. That's what this week was supposed to be. And then you put another steaming, heaping pile of bullshit on top of the shit you put out last week. And now I'm like, who are you really? No, seriously, who are you? Are you the Super Bowl contending team that destroyed the Miami Dolphins? Or are you the team that is lackadaisical and capable of losing to the Jets, the Jaguars, and not that the Jaguars stink, and this Bills team or this Giants team that came in here at 1-4 as 15-point underdogs with a scattered mess for an offensive line, a backup quarterback, and no prayers chance of beating you. And you needed every single second and then an untimed down to get it done. I'm baffled. You won the game. That's the most important part. There are going to be games like this throughout the course of a year. I don't really care how good you are. There's going to be a stinker or two in the mix. And you just hope you find a way to win that. And you did. But there's questions. There are questions. And I've got more questions because you've got injuries. I don't know if the questions are valid or not because the injuries are to the defensive side. That's not where the issues have really lied. I mean, it did in the Jacksonville game, but not tonight. And everybody knows you can run on the Buffalo Bills. You can run the ball on the Bills. I mean, that's not a secret. And Saquon having that explosion after you take the 7-6 lead and him just pretty much running them down the field back into field goal range. Everybody knows you can run on Buffalo. That's not a secret. But you got to get the ball in the end zone against Buffalo too. And that's not the easiest thing to do because they're a very sound, smart defense. But I got questions because you got injuries. But the offense is supposed to be better than this. And it's been hit or miss. So that's where I get a little, But wow, what a fun game. Let's start with the Bills here. Josh Allen got banged around in that first half. My goodness. I mean, the Giants came to play ball in the first half of this game in particular, and they didn't give him any space to breathe. There was a terrible roughing the passer call where he got lit up, fell on his shoulder. There was another hit where he got lit up in a similar instance, right? And they were banging him around. Really made it tough on them, picked him off. Bobby Okereke, we'll talk more about him when we get to the Giants side of things, but I was shocked. It's one thing for you not to score in the first quarter, but I was expecting some, and again, Tyler Bass did miss a kick, so you would have had some points, but I was expecting at least a touchdown at some point in the first half. And to not get any points was very surprising. Never thought you were going to lose this game. Not until that last snap of regulation and the PI and the ball being put at the 1. Now I'm like, yo, you could really lose this game. Like, they hand this bitch to Saquon, and this much maligned offensive line creates some space. You can lose this game. What in the world? But the Bills sold out against the run. And they would have got stopped if they would have handed that to Saquon, out of that formation at least. But They all along were going. I don't like the over the middle. If you're gonna do that, just line them up out wide and just throw a fade. If you're gonna do that, I know what they were trying to do. They were trying to trick them, get them to sell out, but they didn't even fake the run. They were trying to get them to sell out. Defensively, I thought you did a good job of just piecing some shit together. You're still trying to figure out everything with no Matt Milano, with no Tre'Davious White. And some of the guys that you got banged up a little bit. So you're still trying. I think you were missing another member of the secondary, if I'm not mistaken. Dane Jackson, I think, might have been out too. So you were mixing and matching parts, and you were just trying to figure some shit out. And I thought you did a good job of just limiting the Giants team that has struggled all year. You gave us some plays. Tyrod made some throws. But when it came down to making sure they didn't get in the end zone, you did what you needed to do, including right before the half when they tried to sneak you with a run. So defensively, I thought you stood up and did what you were supposed to do. This wasn't about your defense tonight. You didn't give up a single touchdown. This has absolutely nothing to do with your defense. This has everything to do with your offense and their inability to do what everybody else has done to the Giants to this point, and that's put up points, score points, distance yourself from them. Because they can't beat you in a shootout. They can't even score a touchdown. All you had to do was score two touchdowns and a couple of field goals, and this thing was out of reach. And you missed the 2 field goals, and that's why this thing was even within striking distance. All you had to do was make the 2 field goals. We're not even having a conversation right now. But credit the Giants. They put the pressure on the Bills, and the Bills really didn't handle it well tonight, surprisingly. And Josh Allen, my God, he's an alien. Even for all the shit that, they didn't do in the first half and the struggles, and, they really had to rely on the run game heavily in the second half. That first scoring drive of the second half, the one that went from, pretty much most of the third quarter spilling into the fourth, that 16-play drive, that a lot of that was on the ground. But that second touchdown drive, that throw, first of all, the throw to Diggs on a third down to escape and extend, that was crazy. But that's Josh Allen. But the touchdown throw to the tight end, are you kidding me? What in the holy moly donut shop was that? Like 97% of the quarterbacks in this league aren't even attempting that throw. Kids, don't try this at home. Like, that's a dangerous throw. If there's a defender there and there's another one coming, if that thing is not 101 on the radar gun, it's either picked off or it's deflected, and it could get picked off like one of the earlier passes did on a deflection. And somehow, and you trust a guy you haven't targeted all season long. Craziness. And he catches the ball. That's Josh Allen for you, man. I mean, 11 for 11 at that point after that touchdown toss in the second half. Was not a good first half. He struggled mightily. He was, I think, 8 of 17, I believe. 8 of 18. 8 of 18 in the first half. Struggling. 11 for 11 at that point. He was 19 of 29 after that touchdown toss, that second one. And I thought that was going to be it. I was like, okay, the Giants are done scoring for the night. And they were. I didn't think they were going to score again, but I didn't think we would come down to literally the last play of the game and then an untimed down from the one. I didn't think we would be in that situation. But again, we can second guess all we want. I personally would not have kicked the field goal. And I know you got a kicker you trust. And generally, if you trust your kicker, this is when you instill that confidence in him. If he's given you every reason to trust him, which Tyler Bass up until tonight had done that, then you send your kicker out there. But in that particular moment with the team we're playing against, I'm just going to err on the side of caution and make them drive 94 yards, make them drive 89 yards for a touchdown. I'm not cutting the field in half for them. I'm not doing it. And it may come back to haunt me, and they may score a touchdown, and they may ultimately beat us. That's the chance I'm willing to take. If my defense, who has been rock solid all night, who hasn't surrendered a touchdown all night long, if they can't protect 89 yards of grass, we deserve to lose the game. But I'm not going to cut the field in half and essentially give it to them at their 45-yard line and say, hey, you only got to go 55 yards for a score. I'm not doing that. And it almost came back to bite them in the ass. But I can't be mad at a coach for being aggressive. I wouldn't have done it, but I in that situation, there's certain situations where it just doesn't make any sense. And we've had those situations with Nick Sirianni, like even the decision Nick Sirianni made today. Stupid, right? I get it. You get the first down, the game's over. But again, know thy opponent, right? There's a screen. There's other options that you could have gone with on 3rd and 9. Jets don't have any more timeouts, or I think they might have had one. I think they had used all their timeouts. So you want that clock running, and even if you're short, you punt it. They need a touchdown to beat you. I think the score at that time was what? What the score end up being? 20 to. I got to look it up. I don't want to get in the line. 22. It's a weird score. No, it wasn't. 20 to 14. It was a funky score when the Jets scored. I think it was 12. It wasn't 12, was it? Had to be 12. 12. It was 14-12. So they needed a field goal. I'd have made them drive the distance to get in the field goal range and then dare the kicker to make a 50-something yard field goal. Because, Zach Wilson ain't going to get on that damn close. But, hey, when you trust your players and they've come through for you in the past, that's what happens. But I have no problems with them putting the ball in Josh Allen's hands on that 3rd down. And they had what they wanted. Dawson Knox was open. And I thought he pulled the string on it. Normally Josh would rifle that thing in there, and I thought he just tried to just guide it in there instead of just letting it rip like he always does. What a finish. So if you're the Giants, golly, your season didn't have to be over, man. Let's check the upcoming schedule. I know you got Washington next, and that's a very winnable game, right? If you're a Giants fan, you're thinking we're gonna beat Washington next week. After this performance, you got to be thinking we're going to beat the damn Commanders next week. And I don't blame you for feeling that way. You've got the Commanders next, and then after that, you got the Jets, then the Raiders, then the Cowboys, and then the Patriots. You literally could have got hot if you find a way to win this game. Beat the Commanders next week. You're 3-4. Find a way. I don't think you're going to beat the Jets. Just their defense alone is probably good enough to stymie you because you don't score no damn points. So they probably might shut your ass out. But you going in that game thinking, why can't we do the same thing to Zach Wilson? Right? You could have got hot and turned your season around. This is the kind of momentous win that changes. We literally did something like this last year. We were 11.5-point underdogs on the road at Philadelphia. And I won't say it turned our season around because we had already begun to do that. But we lost the week before, and you lost a lot of that momentum, and you gained it right back, and that led us to another 3-game win streak. That's what this could have potentially done for you. This could have catapulted you into a whole different mindset. Forget about the season, being 1-4 prior to this game. We're 0-0, and now we're 1-0. Like, you could have reset the whole thing, hit the reset button with a win tonight. Now you're 1-5, and the shit's dead. Dead, I tell you. For sure. And we knew this was the problem when you lost to Seattle. It was like, what the next two are, but you had a chance to steal one, and you let it slip through your fingers. But what a performance by – first, let's start with the offensive line because they caught a lot of flack, and they've caught a lot of strays in – look, they've been bad. I don't want to sugarcoat it, but just like in Washington, and we've watched Washington give up a bunch of sacks. Sam Howell has taken a beating this year, but it's not all on the offensive line. And I feel the same way with the Giants. It's not. You saw that tonight. Tyrod Taylor was only sacked 3 times. Don't tell me Daniel Jones wouldn't have been sacked 6 or 7 times tonight, because he would have. So don't tell me it's not a quarterback thing. Because it is. That line, for as bad as it's looked, you couldn't tell that they had all those pieces. You couldn't tell that my man Justin Pugh said straight off the couch when they announced where they from at the beginning of the game. Straight off the couch. Man moved from left guard to left tackle. And like Chris Collinsworth said, they didn't call his name at all the entire night, other than when he talked about coming off the couch. You couldn't tell that they had a patchwork, mismatch offensive line in front of Tyrod Taylor. Bet you if Daniel Jones was back there, it would have been a damn shit show. So, again, I know this has not been a great offensive line, and they deserve all of the heat that they've been getting. But you see what happens when you put a more capable quarterback behind center. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. That said, Tyrod Taylor was really good tonight. And I was listening to a game today. I think it was, what game was I watching when a backup quarterback came in and played well? And the commentator said, and it doesn't really matter what game it was and who he was talking about. All that matters is what he said. And he said, and it's very true, and I want to say it was P.J. Walker. And I think it was Greg Olson who said, as a backup quarterback, when you come in and you have a performance like the one P.J. Walker turned in today, or the one Tyrod Taylor turned in tonight, you extend your career by 2, 3, 4 more years. Teams around the league see this. They got a young quarterback. Hey, Tyrod Taylor's a free agent. Tyrod can continue to make $7, $8, $9 million a year doing what he did just tonight. You extend the life of your career when you play like this. Tyrod's number was called. He came out and he gave them a chance tonight. And he threw some dimes. Couple of shots down the sidelines to Slayton. Are you kidding me? What? And I think Slayton should have caught the one on that 4th down. Shit went right through his hands. It was a good play by Benford, but if he catches that clean, and I think he would have got his feet down, I don't think Benford had anything to really do with that pass being dropped. I think he just dropped it. That was another dime from Tyrod. How about that 4th down? Tyrod steps up in the pocket and delivers to Jalen Hyatt. I thought he played well too. I thought Hyatt looked good. I don't understand why he's not playing more. You got guys out here just absolutely balling, keeping your rookie receiver off the field. I don't get why he's not getting more reps to begin with. But again, I'm not at practice. I don't know what he's doing or is or isn't doing. But I just know when he gets on the field, he can be a difference maker. And I thought he played really well tonight. So I just don't understand how he's not getting more opportunities. But that's nor here nor there. The bottom line is I thought that these guys stepped up. Wan'Dale Robinson looked good tonight. I've always liked Wan'Dale Robinson. When he's healthy, Wan'Dale Robinson is a problem, I feel like. And so I thought he looked good and did some good things. And then Saquon being back makes a huge difference. Anybody that thought it didn't matter, it does. I mean, they ran the same play like 5 times in a row, and Saquon was cooking their ass. They take him out for 1 snap. They run the same play with Matt Breida, and they lose a yard. Same play, and it looked like the shit was open again. So Saquon makes a huge difference for this offense. That said, defensively, that is the story because they still didn't score. If I said all of that, and they still didn't score a single touchdown. So, I mean, they hung in because I want to look at time of possession, real talk. I want to look at time of possession because I feel like even though they didn't score, they kept the ball away from Buffalo's offense, especially in the second half. Each team had 2 possessions heading into that final little stretch where it got really funky and crazy at the end. But I want to say the Giants were right there with them time of possession. Yeah, they led 31.5 to 28.5. Time of possession edge goes to the New York Giants in this game. And let's see what they were on third downs. 10 of 19 on third. See, the Giants, they did what they had to do to survive in this game. And that was the formula. Keep the ball away from this Bills offense. Keep them on the sidelines. And let's give ourselves a chance. And they did that. They really – the Bills only had 297 yards of offense. They didn't even have 300 yards of total offense in this game. Like, you got to credit the Giants for possessing the ball offensively, even though they didn't score many points. But it was really about the defense, to be honest with you, because even with that said, they could have had time of possession, all of this good stuff. If Josh Allen was carving these boys up and scoring points, the game's still not close because the offense didn't do anything points-wise. So this defense still had to come to the party. And this was the Giants, a much maligned Giants defense that 2 weeks ago didn't even have a turnover to their name. They go out, they forced 3 turnovers last week of the Dolphins, including a 102-yard pick six by Jason Pinnock. And then they come into this game and they are able to pick off Josh Allen and continue and force a fumble of Gabe Davis early and continue to get turnovers, right? And the old adage is turnovers come in bunches. Well, it seems like that's the case for the Giants. They're starting to get these turnovers. And, man, Bobby Okereke was ridiculous in this game. And I love that signing. When they got him, I was like, damn. There were so many good inside linebackers available in free agency, and my team managed to go outside of the group of good linebackers and go and pick a guy that wasn't even on the radar. Still mind-boggling. But Bobby Okereke was one of those dudes I was eyeballing, and he's been so good this year for the Giants. Even when they were getting mauled, he was one of the lone bright spots, and he was everywhere tonight. And boy, that Giants defense played inspired ball tonight. And you can see they were a little – I'm telling you, if you think guys don't have pride, if you don't think these players knew they were 15-point underdogs, you're lying. You're lying to yourself. All right? If you can't see what I can see, you're blind, baby. You're blind to the facts, okay? Because clearly these boys were testy tonight. They were ready to get in fights. They were hitting. They were physical. We haven't seen this Giants team all year. They've been getting punked every single week. They've been getting punked every week. Manhandled. They were the aggressors tonight. They were sick of the shit. And sometimes I don't care about penalties. I just need to know that you're going to fight. That's sometimes as a fan, I just need to know you're going to fight. Because there ain't nothing worse than watching you sit there and take the ass whooping. Sometimes I just need somebody to do something so I know there's still a pulse. Well, tonight, the Giants, the season is over, but they showed that they have a pulse still. They may be on their deathbed, but they still kicking and they still breathing, and they said, we're not dead yet. And they almost got off the ventilator tonight. They almost got off the ventilator tonight. And I thought it started with the defense. They came out, they got a 3-and-out, they forced a fumble on the second possession. I thought they set the tone. They picked off Josh Allen as they were driving for points. I thought they set the tone. And then the offense got into a rhythm. They started moving the ball, and they started converting third downs, and Tyrod started to make some plays, and they started to show, hey, this ain't going to be what you thought it was. Y'all better tighten up, or you will lose tonight. I'll field goal your ass to death. I ain't got no touchdowns in me. I'll field goal your ass to death. Don't make me do it, because I'll do it. Come out here with some bullshit. I'll 5 field goal your ass and beat you 15-14. F around if you want to. Or as they like to say, F around and find out. You almost did. Because them Giants won't play no goddamn games with your ass tonight. And I'm going to be honest with you. And I know they're not going to do this. Because you're paying Daniel Jones too much money. But if I'm Brian Daboll, and I know that end of the first half shit pissed you the hell off, and Daboll be just cold, straight cold tripping on the sideline. I mean, he be going ape shit. I read a tweet somewhere. One of the beat reporters was like, "Boy, Brian Daboll, make sure he make sure he let everybody know that shit wasn't my fault." Like, which you should never have that temperament as a coach where you make it known like you just effed up. I mean, we saw the whole sideline exchange with Daniel Jones a couple of weeks ago on Monday Night Football against Seattle, where he showed him the tablet and threw the bitch like, "Yo, dumbass. Like, look, his ass open right here. What you doing? What is you doing?" And throw the shit off to the side like, "Yo, dumbass." He snapped. But even with that said, Tyrod, you're not even in that game without Tyrod Taylor. I would think about it. Like, if Daniel Jones was like, "Coach, I think I can go," I think you need another week. I want you at 100%. We're not going to push you. Take another week. Get some more treatment. We'll have you back in a couple of weeks. And see what Tyrod does next week. I personally would do that, but they're not. And I don't want them to. I want to beat Daniel Jones. Personally, I want to beat Daniel Jones. So I would like him to play next week. And partly, I don't want to see Tyrod Taylor. I would prefer to get Daniel Jones. I don't want Tyrod Taylor running around making plays. I prefer Daniel Jones. So, valiant effort by the Giants. They showed something they hadn't showed all year, and that's a pulse, a heartbeat, fight, tenacity, perseverance. But it wasn't enough. Because in this league, as I've said millions of times, and I'll say a million more, field goals don't win games. Touchdowns do. And when you go a whole entire game again without scoring an offensive touchdown, generally you lose in this league. So I guarantee you this. Not only because we talked about this, if you're a Commanders fan, we talked about this. We're streak breakers, all right? We bust up streaks, good or bad. Giants haven't scored a first half touchdown this season. I guarantee you they score on the first possession of the game, they score a touchdown. That shit will be over. There will be no suspense, no drama. They will score a touchdown on the opening drive of the game. I will make another declaration. So that will kill 2 streaks that they currently have. They haven't scored a touchdown in 12 quarters. That will be done in the first quarter against Washington. And they haven't scored in the first half. A touchdown, that is, this season. That will happen on the opening possession as well. I assure you of that. Okay? So two nasty-ass streaks. Finito. First drive of the game. All right, so we can put that shit to bed right now. They haven't scored more than, 20 points this season? They'll probably exceed that next week, too. Now, I'm not telling you that's going to all amount to a victory. I'm just telling you this is the shit that's going to happen. All of that shit that they haven't done this year, they'll do it against Washington. But it's too little, too late. You know, or as a wise woman once said, "Man, it's just too little, too late. It's just a little too late." But maybe next time. As I always tell you, or a wise person once told me, there's always next year. Okay? Anyway, I digress. Let's get to the comment section. Rocky D, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, "Louie, you know, if any team the Giants going to reach the end zone on, it's us. Laughing my ass off. We just need to put up more points." What did I just say? Opening possession of the game, I guarantee they marched that bitch down on a 9-play, 75-yard drive. First possession of the game, walk that bitch right on down, and Darren Waller catches a 7-yard touchdown pass. Just like that, they in the end zone. First time all season. I bet any amount of money. It happens. They'll get first quarter points for the first time, first half touchdown for the first time this season, and they'll snap their 12-quarter streak of not scoring a touchdown. All that shit's gone next week. Guaranteed. But like you said, all of that's fun. As long as we got one more point than them when the game's done, that's all that matters. We just need to go out there. This is for as good as they played tonight. This is still an ass Giants defense. I'm not afraid of them whatsoever. And if this is the thing, I know their defensive coordinator, Wink Martindale, is going to blitz because they see us as a mark, as they should. We've given up, probably now that Tyrod only was sacked 3 times tonight, we've probably given up the most sacks in the league now. We've probably retaken the lead from the Giants. But he's going to come after Sam, and if we can't protect, it's going to be a long day. I hope they got answers, because if you think running 12-yard routes down the field is the answer to all-out pressure, Sam will get sacked 7 or 8 times next week. So hopefully they will have built-in answers to the pressure that's going to come next week, because Wink Martindale is going to blitz Sam Howell, and he's going to test this offensive line and see if the young fella can handle it, which I would do the same thing. Mike Jake, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, speechless. Louie Lou, no words. Go Phillies. I wasn't shocked by the outcome. I said that this on my weekly pick'em show. I didn't want to pick the Eagles as my survivor pick because I thought they could lose the game. But I thought it was safer than the Rams. I turned out to be wrong. And those were the 2 teams I was picking between, the Rams and the Eagles. And I really didn't want to pick Philadelphia. I felt good when it was 14-3. I'm like, okay, I'm safe, because I didn't expect the Jets to score very many points. What I couldn't have counted on was this Eagles imploding, turning it over 4 times, and Hurts throwing one of the worst picks I've seen him throw in his career. And I've seen him throw some bad picks. This is probably the worst I've ever seen him throw. Like, game on the line. You could do just about anything in that situation but that. You know, he could have even taken a sack. Would have been much better than that. Keeps the clock running. You punt and you force Zach Wilson to have to drive them back down the field in the field goal range, and then you force their kicker to have to make a kick. And your defense was just starting to cook. They were getting after Zach Wilson's ass. I think Hassan Reddick had 2.5 in this game. They were just starting to cook. He had 5 sacks on Wilson, if I'm not mistaken. So that's rough, man. I ain't complaining. I mean, I got bounced from the survivor pool. I'm just going to take it out on Eagles fans. Somebody got to pay for it. I'm not even going to trip. I'm not going to rant, none of that shit, because I'm glad they lost. And now we're going to see what happens, because I think you could lose again on Sunday Night Football. We'll see. But like you said, go Phillies. You still got those guys. And the Rangers won in game 1 against the Astros. I'm telling you, and I expect you to beat the Diamondbacks. If the Rangers beat the Astros, you win in the World Series, my man. Y'all getting y'all first chip in eons. What, since 1980 or some shit like that? Yeah, go back to like the Steve Carlton Phillies or some shit. I mean, it's been a long ass time. I know you had a run in the 90s, but y'all ain't win shit with Kruk and company, Lenny Dykstra and all of them. Well, y'all went back-to-back years against Toronto, but you lost both times. I think y'all gonna win that shit if y'all beat Arizona and the Rangers. And I might be underestimating the Rangers, but I don't think they could beat y'all. I'm gonna just be honest. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Lou, just got one word, 20-14 Jets. That's one word, huh? So you went State Farm and you bundled it, huh? I mean, it's crazy, but what will be even better, and I want to see what happens, because I think they can go on a nice little loser streak. That's what I really want. because Eagles fans are convinced that this was just a one-off. And I'm like, have you not been watching the first 6 games of the season? What makes you think that your team is anywhere near as good as they were last year? You haven't played a schedule that looks like, if you played the Giants schedule, you'd be 3-3 or 2-4 this year. That's real talk. Or as a wise man likes to say, that's on the real side. That ain't on the fake side. You played the softest schedule of any team in the NFC East to this point. And that's why you're 5-1. You should be 6-0. Easily could have lost 2 or 3 games in that mix. And now your schedule's about to heat the hell up. And I want to see how they respond. And maybe they'll show that championship medal that they have, and they'll rise to the occasion next week and mop the floor with the Dolphins like the Bills did. And then, do the same with us the following week and restore order. And all is right in the world for them. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think they're about to start losing some damn games. That's what I think is about to happen. And a lot of these Eagles fans that just want to repost the standings in the NFC East, let's see what crutch they use when that shit ain't looking and they favor no more. When they ass ain't at the top of the division no more. That's when I'm going to be interested to see what they go back to. Because if we beat them in 2 weeks, can't say we beat y'all the last time. Can't do that. You ain't at the top of the division. Can't say, hey, last time I checked, you in 3rd place, or you yada, 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 you this, that, and the third. I guess they'll go to, you ain't making the playoffs, though. You still ain't going to make the play. I guess that's what they're going to try to go to next. I might be like, hey, y'all cool down there? I'm ready to start looking down at their ass. Because I think they about to hit a mean little 4 out of 5, losing streak. I know that sounds crazy. Look at their schedule. Tell me that shit ain't possible. With the shit that they've been doing this year on offense, we got Eagles fans out here ready to pitchforks and torches for the offensive coordinator Johnson already. This 6 weeks ago before the season started, this Jalen Hurts boy, he know Jalen Hurts better than anybody. The offense I kept saying, y'all gonna miss. I know y'all don't give a shit about your defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon. You glad he going. I wanted him still to be in Philadelphia. I said, y'all gonna miss Shane Steichen. Don't tell me y'all don't, because y'all do. Because this offense don't look nearly as sharp as it did last year. Don't look as creative, none of that shit. And I'd argue you got better talent this year than you had last year on offense. Not on defense, but on offense, I think you do. Shane Steichen would have had a field day with this offense. Yeah, right. We're going to see. We're going to see. Eric Sunderland. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, yeah, Giants haven't scored a TD in a while. Let the Commanders help them with the opening drive touchdown. Of course, you already know. I already said, you know what's going to happen. You know what's going to go down. First drive of the game. We're going to win the toss. We're going to defer. Giants get the football to start, and it's a 9-play, 75-yard drive. It's going to look like the preseason when the Giants thought they was about to come out here and be tearing people new assholes. They went right down the field with Daniel Jones and Darren Waller and scored a touchdown, took the offense off the field. We didn't see them the rest of the preseason. They was good. That's what's going to happen on this first drive. It's going to look real clean and crisp. Giants fans going to be like, where this shit been at the whole season? Probably I had Andrew Thomas back, Saquon back. It'll be the first time all year since week 1 they had everybody at full mass, essentially. And they're going to march that bitch right down the field. I'm going to be shocked if it don't happen. I'm going to be shocked. Absolutely flummoxed if it don't happen. Red Wings 01. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, I've been trying to tell y'all this Bills team is sus as hell. Every time it feels like I have to eat my words, they have these types of games. Yeah, man, they're hard to put a finger on right now. I really don't know who they are. And I don't know if they're sus as much as I think they play down to their level of competition. You put the Dolphins in front of them, you put the Chiefs in front of them, the Bengals, I think you get the best out of this Bills team. You know, it's when you put lower competition in front of them it seems like they just struggle with that, right? And again, I hate to demean Jacksonville like they weren't a playoff team this past year. And they probably are going to win their division again, but still, they weren't playing hot football at the time when they saw them. But that's nor here nor there. I still believe in this Bills team. I still believe in Josh Allen. I still believe in that offense. And where I'm still a little bit like torn, and they haven't really shown any signs of, issues with the guys that have gotten injured, is the defense. I think eventually that's gonna be what hurts if they don't have other ways to circumvent those injuries. Is no Kiko Alonso. No, oh shit, how I forget his name that quick. Matt Milano and Tre'Davious White. I think that's what's gonna hurt them more than anything else. So we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. They're an enigma right now. I don't know what Bills team is going to show up from week to week, to be honest with you. Frankie, yo. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, had surgery today and missed the game. Come out of it to find out Juice had an interception and we had a 60-yard punt return. Questioning if this is real life. Hey, you need to have surgery every week, man. Glad that you're okay. Sounds like the surgery was a success. I hate when people say it was minor surgery. No surgery is minor, but glad that you're okay. And we got a dub, So yeah, Jamin Davis got a pick. Juice got a pick. We had a 60-yard punt return that set up a touchdown. Like, again, I said it was going to snow tomorrow. Like, this can't be life. This can't be real. Like you said, I thought I was in the Twilight Zone. Like, we getting punked right now. Where the flag at? He can't have a pick. And Juice's was so easy. Jamin had to work for his. Juice's was easy. It's like the football guy's like, bro, you've been waiting a long time for this. Here you go, man. We got something for you. We ain't turning down no gifts, no peace offerings, none of that. Let us have all of it. Red Wing 01, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Red Wings writes, I'm glad the Bills won, but they did not deserve to win this. The Giants are officially dead. We better put the double tap on them just to be sure, though. I already told you we're going to do our best to resurrect them next week. Like, they're dead. And even if they beat us, they're still dead. But we're going to go over and we're going to start checking for a pulse, listening to their heart to see if we hear a heartbeat, trying to check their pulse. It's faint. We're going to try to do CPR, bust out the defibrillator. We're going to do everything in our power to try to make sure that we don't lose a patient here, when we should be trying to make sure that they're gone. And like I said, I'm trying to get rid of the body. Like, I don't want no remains of their season left after we done with them. And I know we going to try our best to make sure that their season isn't over, because that's just what we do. So I have no expectations whatsoever of us going and blowing them out or anything of the sort. If we beat them, and I expect to beat them, but I'm not like super confident like I was before the season started when I was talking about busting their head twice to the White Meat Show. I'm still looking to do that, but these boys done already sabotaged me once. So now the only team I'm looking at, like, I don't give a shit what the circumstances are. We beating you is Philadelphia. I can't say the same for the Giants, even though if we trying to do anything, we need to beat them. Right, we need to beat the Giants, but yeah, you're not wrong. Like, the better team won, but the better team tonight that I don't think necessarily won the game. The Giants might have been more deserving, but that's not how it works in this league. You got to score points to win. You got to score points, preferably touchdowns. Frankie, yo. Thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Thank you for your generosity, man. Really do appreciate you. Duncan Wright, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, talk your smack, Lou, and enjoy. We stunk, and I'm speechless. Nah, I'm not going to kill you. It's one loss. I had my fun already. I took a Molotov cocktail and threw it out on social media and watched that shit just explode with flames everywhere. And I brought all the Cowboys fans out. They doing all my dirty work. I'm done. I don't have to do anything else. So I did what I wanted to do. I already had my fun. I took a nice little Molotov, put it in there, lit that bit, got that shit going. Once it exploded, I just watched the fire. It was beautiful. Cowboys fans came out of nowhere. Commanders fans chimed in, had some fun. Then we just fell back and let the Cowboys fan take over. And God forbid they don't win tomorrow. If they don't win, oh my God, it'll be World War IV between Cowboys fans and Eagles fans. I'm going to just sit back and laugh. And I started the whole goddamn thing. And I love it. I'm not going to mess with y'all. I already did what I needed to do. I want to see what y'all do on Sunday against the Dolphins. I think y'all can beat them. It's not one of these situations where I expect y'all to get mopped. But if this same funky offense that I've been watching the last few weeks shows up, you got no chance. That's what you got. Because even with Tua tripping against the Giants a couple of weeks ago, and he showed his ass. I ain't watched this game yet, but they were down 14-0 to the Panthers. So I'm starting to lose a little bit of faith in the Dolphins, and they starting to lose a little bit of luster. But even still, they scored 35 unanswered points. And I know it's Carolina, but still, that's not easy to do in this league. They're just slick with what they do. I know you better get healthy in that secondary quick. You got a lot of shit going on back there, man. I kept trying to tell you, this secondary ain't what you think it is. And y'all was like, no, we fine. Like, you got rid of Epps. You know, you lost your boy at the linebacker position. I know that's not secondary, but he was so versatile. And I'm like, yo, that secondary ain't hitting on shit, bro. And Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, I'm like, you lost Epps, you lost Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and then you lost Avonte Maddox early in the season. Like, yo, this secondary is sus. Now they like, yo, we need to go out and get this. We need to go do that. And I'm looking like, here comes Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and company. Good luck. Gonna need it. Greg Giants 10. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, hey, Lou, lost a tough game, and normally I'd be livid, but we're just not a good enough team. We're just not good enough as a whole. Also, if we were a better team, we get that PI call. It was definitely pass interference on that last play, but I honestly didn't think the one before that got you to the 1 yard line deserved a penalty to be called there. They called it. It is what it is. I wasn't tripping, but I didn't think that, warranted pass interference. That last one was definitely pass interference. But at the end of the day, I mean, how could you be super upset? You actually should be proud of your team. This is the most fight they've shown all season long, and it's not even remotely close. That even includes the one game that you won. They showed more fight in this game than they did against the Cardinals, and they won that game. But the fact that you were down that big to the Arizona Cardinals speaks volumes, right? Meanwhile, this is a Buffalo Bills team that people still see as a Super Bowl contending team, and you took them to the wire and should have beat them. So it's hard to be livid after this game, but disappointed, absolutely, because while you probably still weren't going to make much of your season, even with the victory here, who knows? NFL's really tricky that way. All it takes is one. Just for reference, right? Lions were 1-6 last year and were a Seattle Seahawks loss away from making the playoffs. Seattle won in week 18 and clinched that final playoff berth. But they literally were one Seattle Seahawks loss away from making the playoffs after starting 1-6. Your shit don't have to be over. But you also don't have a credible quarterback, nor a roster that's good enough to win consistently, even though you've played by far and away the toughest part of your schedule. And the fact that you don't have the Eagles until the 2 out of the final 3 weeks of the season, they may not be playing for anything by then. We don't know because you can't beat them. And you still have Dallas, and you can't beat them either. And I'm hoping that you don't beat us this year either. So I'm hoping that you go over. Well, I don't give a shit what you do with the other teams in the division. That ain't got shit to do with me. We just got to sweep your ass. That's what I'm hoping we do. But yeah, I thought you guys fought your asses off. I would, if I were a Giants fans, livid would be the last emotion that I would have after tonight's performance. Greg Giants 10. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, usually my team owns yours, but you'll beat us and blow us out. We simply can't score. 2 weeks without an offensive touchdown. I don't know about that. I don't know if we're capable of blowing anybody out. I just don't know if that's something that we have in our DNA. I don't think that's something that our team strives for. So it'll be close. I'll assure you of that. It'll be close. And you're going to score next week. Trust me, Greg. Trust me when I tell you, you will score points next week. You will score points next week. How many? Will it be enough? That I can't answer for you. But let's your season high. I know what your season high is. You scored 31 against Arizona. Take that game out of the equation. What's your next highest point total? I'll try to predict what you're going to do. Let's check this out. So 16 last week against the Dolphins is your second highest point total of the season. You'll score higher than that next week. You'll get to 20. You've only been to 20 once this season when you scored 31 against Arizona and won. You'll get to 20 next week. I don't know if you'll go higher than 20. You'll definitely score 20 points next week. Book it. DJ23, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Ron and Jack need their linebacker card revoked for picking Barton over Okereke. Sam really plays better on the road. No turnovers on the road. I don't even know if I want to give credence to that yet. It's good that he plays well on the road. I mean, that's when it's supposed to be its toughest. And he seems to be relishing, in those opportunities right now. But we'll see. The Giants have been a house of horrors. The Meadowlands has been a house of horrors for us for years. It's just never been a really safe space for us. We'll see what Sam's able to do against this Giants football team. There'll be opportunities for us to do some good things, but we got to be better than what we were today. That's for sure. And we revoked their linebacker card a long time ago. When they kept force feeding us John Bostic, that's when we was like, yo, come on, hand the shit up. Nope, don't want to hear it. Just hand it over. Come on, give me the card. Took that shit a long time ago. Frankie, yo, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, I pictured you talking to Crowder. Hey, I guess what they say is true. Senior citizens, although slow and dangerous behind the wheel, can still serve a purpose. Don't you go down on me. And the worst part is, I didn't even see it coming. I ain't see that shit coming at all. When he made that first move, I was like, whoa. And then he hit that seam. I was like, go, Jameson, go. Go. And then, of course, he got hawked down by a dude that was nowhere close. And that's when you realize he is a senior citizen. But it was a great play. I was excited for him, and it was good to see the special teams unit show life. They've been dead for a long time. And I had to offer up a double O to him on the post game show. His fans was not having it because, I was talking cold, hard cash about JC Ice. I even had to sing the song, man. It's all good, though. It's all for a good purpose, man. I was so happy. That's a good one, Frankie, yo. Mike Jink, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes? We got a World Series in 08, Lou. Come on now. Oh, I did forget about that one. That was what Ryan Howard and those boys, Jimmy Rollins and all that. Okay. I'm sorry. I apologize. Forgot all about that. So it hasn't been that long. Okay. Cool. I forgot all about that 08 chip. That was forgettable. But okay. Well, you got a chance to get another one. My fault. Me malo. Rocky D, been a member for 10 months. Who. Next, he said, win next week, Philly lose, we fight for first. Again, obviously, Dallas is in that equation as well because they're at 2 losses. So it would be, pending a Dallas loss somewhere in that mix. Because if Philadelphia loses, somebody, if we were to beat them, then they would have 3 losses. Dallas would still have 2 if they haven't lost again by then. So don't forget about Dallas in that equation. Now, if they lose to the Chargers on Monday Night Football, that changes things. And it would put us in that position where if we win against the Giants and then the Eagles lose to the Dolphins, then we would be, because we've already had this chance. We blew it. We had a chance to play for first place in week 3 or 4, and we would have had a piece of first place if we'd have beat them. And we had them and we let them off the hook. So we might have that opportunity again. We may have that opportunity again. We at the time after the loss, we talked about winning 3 straight to get to them at 5-2. We anticipated them losing a game. I did not anticipate them losing to the Jets. So even if they don't lose to the Dolphins, they still ended up with the 1 loss that I thought they were going to have. It just came from a different AFC East opponent. But I'm trying to send them on a nice little streak here, though. So I want Eagles fans questioning everything about their existence. Everything that they were told before this season started. I want them questioning everything. Because that's what Eagles fans do. They will turn very quickly. Because they got spoiled. This is what happens when you get spoiled. You don't know how to deal with adversity. So let them lose to the Dolphins and then we beat them, and that's a 3-game skid. Now they can't talk about, look at where you at, look at where we at, all that bullshit. Take that same screenshot of the division, where you at in it, and they might lose their minds if they don't have that to hold on to. Who knows? We'll see. But again, don't leave Dallas out of that equation because, again, they got to lose too in order for us to be playing for any part of first place. But we got to take care of our business first. Like, don't overlook the Giants and act as if that's an automatic win. We already did that shit with Chicago, and you saw how that turned out for us. King of the North. Been a member for 2 years, 25 months. We struggle versus the blitz. Giants will bring it. That's not true. Sam Howell against the blitz today against the Atlanta Falcons was better against the blitz than he was against no pressure. So he's getting better against the blitz, by the way. He's figuring out ways to get rid of the football, get it into playmakers' hands. But the Falcons blitz and the Giants blitz, 2 different things. Because your boy Wink is going to bring it from somewhere everywhere. It's going to be complex. So, again, he'll have to be ready. I've already talked about this. He's going to have to be ready. And that'll be one of the talking points throughout the week. Greg Giants 10. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, I'm not upset. I'm just done. Yeah, that's the emotion that you should probably have right now is you're just over it. This is not what the season was supposed to be. And I told you, I've been where you are many a times. There's nothing worse than the season being over in early October. Like, there's no preparation for that, especially when you came into this season thinking you were going to build off of a playoff team that won a game a season ago. There's no way with the improvements you made to this route, there's no way you thought year 2 of Brian Daboll was going to put you where you are now at 1-5. So yeah, that's crazy. And to think your first drive of the season was going splendidly, and then you had, I think, a penalty, a bad snap, and then a block kick, and your shit ain't been the same since. You still ain't recovered from that first drive against Dallas that went sideways. Anyway, I digress. Let's see. All right. Let's get out of here. That was the last super. I don't really see no comments here. Let's get out of here. All right. Bills survive a thriller. 14-9. If you missed this game, you missed a hell of a game. And I know the points don't necessarily tell the story. This was a good-ass game and with a hell of a finish. This has got me thinking tomorrow's game with Cowboys and Chargers is going to be off the effing chain. This is the appetizer. That's the main event. And the Bills somehow survived this game. I honestly believe they got outplayed tonight and should have lost this game. And they had their chances to put them away. Josh Allen had on a 3rd and 9 late in the ball game, had an opportunity. Dawson Knox open. If he completes that pass, the game's over. You know, Giants have, I think they had one timeout left, but that would have pretty much sealed the deal. But he missed it. And they kicked the field goal, missed the field goal, gave the Giants the ball at their own 43, and they got all the way to the 1-yard line with no time left after a pass interference on the final play of the game, put them in a position to win one final untimed down, and Tyrod Taylor could not connect with Darren Waller in the back of the end zone, and probably was pass interference on Taron Johnson. Does not matter. They did not call it. The Bills survive and advance to 4-2 on the season, 14-9. Giants officially have their season put on, like, literally, we're deciding when to pull the plug at this point. You needed to beat one of those 3 teams, preferably the Seahawks, because you knew the Dolphins and Giants were going and the Bills rather were going to be tough. You needed to win one of those games. You couldn't get to 1-5, and now that's where you are. And so, tough loss, but at the end of the day, if I'm a Giants fan, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, because what that showed me is that you're not dead. You're going to continue to fight, and you probably just want to just collapse and just have somebody pull the plug and have this season be like 3-14 so you can get that quarterback you're looking for. I don't endorse nor support tanking. That's not my steez. I'm too competitive for that. But if you're a Giants fan, that's probably what you're looking for at this point. Man, it's hard, though. When you sit down in front of your TV at 1:05 on a Sunday, it's hard to root against the squad. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do, man. I've been there before. That's tough. That's a tough place to be mentally. But Bills are now 4-2. A lot of questions still with this Bills team, man, and not all the answers that we thought we'd have at this point of the season. Meanwhile, the Giants are 1-5, and I think we've got all the answers we need from them. It's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on Sunday Night Football Overtime. Y'all take care. Tomorrow we got a big one, Cowboys, Chargers. That should be epic. Until then, y'all take care. God bless, and good night.